Okay, so today we're jumping into something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but it's actually rooted in some very real, very wild quantum physics. We're talking about a technology that could give us limitless, completely zero waste energy, and yeah, it could change everything. So just imagine for a second a reactor that doesn't need a single drop of fossil fuel. No radioactive materials, nothing like that. Instead, it just pulls its fuel right out of the air around us and leaves behind absolutely zero toxic waste. I know, it sounds totally impossible, right? But a really radical new way of looking at physics suggests this could actually be our future. Let's break down how it might just work. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the main idea, getting energy from thin air. Then we'll dive into the wild quantum mass that makes it all possible. After that, we'll check out the reactor itself, talk about its incredible promise of zero waste, and then, we'll peek into the future and see where this could all be heading. Okay, first things first, we've got to totally shift how we think about the air around us. We usually think of it as, mostly empty space with some gas molecules floating around. But if you zoom all the way down to the quantum level, the atmosphere is actually this seething reservoir of unbelievable untapped energy. Yeah, that's the key right there. Locked energy. We're not talking about the chemical energy you get from burning wood or gas. No, this is the fundamental, mind-bogglingly huge power that holds the very nucleus of an atom together. Physicists call it the strong nuclear force. The problem has always been, how do you find the key to unlock that power cleanly? And to find that key, well, we have to look past the physics most of us learned in high school. Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, is great. It tells us mass can become energy. But when you try to use that idea on really stable atoms, like the nitrogen that makes up most of our air, you slam right into a wall. And here's the core of that problem. Trying to split a super stable nitrogen atom is like trying to smash a perfectly built Lego model. You actually end up using more energy to break it apart than you get back from all the little pieces. So the solution isn't to break it, it's to transmute it. It's like instead of smashing your Lego castle, you're just taking a few bricks and cleverly rearranging them into a new, even stronger shape, and in the process, you release all the leftover energy. And that brings us to the absolute heart of this new way of thinking, which boils down to this crazy-looking equation you see here. Instead of one thing breaking into two, what you're doing is encouraging two stable things to sort of merge and reconfigure into a new, single, even more stable thing. And when that happens, a teeny tiny bit of mass just vanishes. But it's not waste. It gets converted directly into a massive amount of pure energy. Okay, so theory is one thing, but how do you actually build a machine that does this? The answer isn't some giant furnace or a massive particle accelerator. No, it's a much more elegant, much more precise process called field ionization. This whole technique is built on some really cutting-edge quantum research. So forget about brute force, like a giant hammer smashing things. This is all about precision. Think more like a pair of super advanced magnetic tweezers that can reach in and gently work with the nucleus of an atom itself. And this just lays out the process perfectly. Step 1, the reactor's fields grab nitrogen right out of the air. Step 2, it zaps it with a very specific frequency, a resonance, that gets the nucleus to sort of vibrate and get ready for a change. This is the magic step. And finally, step 3, the atom shifts into its new, more stable state, and bam, all that lost mass is released as pure energy. It's a clean, controlled, beautiful conversion. And this right here is the biggest deal of all. This is the ultimate payoff of this technology. Because the whole process is so incredibly precise and the fuel is literally just air, the entire cycle produces absolutely no toxic waste. None. I mean, just look at how clean this whole cycle is. The input, just regular old air. The process, that clean nuclear transmutation we just talked about. And the output, pure energy, plus some totally harmless, stable noble gases like neon or argon, stuff that's already in our atmosphere anyway. There's no carbon, no radioactive fallout, nothing bad. And here's why it's so clean. It all goes back to that core idea we talked about. You aren't breaking the atom. Traditional nuclear fission is like shattering a glass. Sure, you get a burst of energy, but you're left with a bunch of dangerous radioactive shards. This process is about reorganizing. You're just neatly reconfiguring a stable atom, leaving behind only clean energy and another stable, harmless atom. Okay, but what if I told you we could take this even further? Like, what if we don't even need the atoms in the air anymore? This is where things get really, really mind-bending. And it leads us to this concept called zero-point energy. You see, there's this really weird quirk in quantum physics that basically says there's no such thing as truly empty space. Even a perfect vacuum is just fizzing with this background energy, sometimes called vacuum energy or zero-point energy. It's like a hidden ocean of power that's literally everywhere. In theory, an advanced enough reactor could learn to tap directly into that energy, meaning it wouldn't even need air for fuel. It would be mining the void itself. And when you put it all side by side like this, wow, the leap forward is just staggering. We'd go from burning up finite fuels that we dig out of the ground to tapping an infinite source that's all around us. We'd go from creating toxic waste to creating nothing. And we'd shift from the physics of heat and pressure to the fundamental math that actually governs reality. It's a complete, total paradigm shift. And hey, don't think this is all just scribbles on a chalkboard. That massive number there is 1 petawatt. That's the power level of lasers that scientists are using right now in fusion research. They are already testing the absolute core principle of this whole idea, using intense fields of light to actually trigger nuclear reactions in everyday materials. The engineering is starting to catch up to the wild theory. So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this question. Think about it. For all of human history, our progress has been driven by fire, burning things to create heat and energy. Our next great leap forward, well, it might not be powered by fire at all. It might be powered by light. The question isn't just if we can do this anymore, but what's our world going to look like when we finally do?